Alright, we're about to start our Masters Riders race. Hot party! Can we hear it for these racers over there? Yes, give them some encouragement, honey. Oh, there they go! And these riders are off. This is the Masters men's race. They're racing for 40 minutes.
All right, we are back, and I am down in Portland in this race. This is day 2 of the Portland Criteriums, and this is the Lloyd Criterium around the Lloyd Center. And the main feature in this race is right here. It's a little chicane that narrows down quite a bit going into this underpass. So we go through here, go in the underpass, and then we come out the other side, which is a little bit of a hill. So in this race, it is the Masters race, but they've combined the 40 plus fields, the 50 plus, and the 60 plus. In addition, it is the Oregon State Criterium Championships. So we've got a very, very large field. I heard someone say that there were over 70 riders in this field. As you can see, that initial chicane and that narrowing caused the field to stretch out quite a bit. Unfortunately, I had lined up near the back, and that meant that immediately I'm having to put down a little power to catch back up to the main group and try to stay in contention. Right in front of me in the red, white, and blue kit there, that is Kirk Canfield from Huggins Berman, a guy I race with all the time, and so we're both from Washington. I do know quite a few of the people in the race, but there are obviously a lot of them I don't know, especially the ones from Oregon. So coming around this corner on the right-hand side up there, there's a crash on that first lap. You couldn't really see it too well on my video, but it was right over there. And again, this stretches the field out a little more than we'd like on the first lap. We're coming down the home straight, going into that chicane again. So again, the field is kind of quite broken up already, and it's a struggle just to kind of maintain your position, try to get in here to this narrowing spot. I had a little trouble figuring out the best line through here to kind of keep the speed and keep up the power. I don't know if that was even possible unless you were up front on your own. Also coming through this tunnel, there are some grates there. You saw one right there, and there's another one coming up. So you got to be a little bit careful. And your vision, goes from bright sunlight to the tunnel. So it was a little tricky there. All in all, I was feeling pretty good in this race. I had just done the day before the Parks Block Criterium, which was in downtown Oregon as well. It was a 6-corner crit that was a little more technical and more narrow. And to be honest, I didn't do well. I basically just tail gunned the entire time. That was a 40-50 field, so 40 plus and 50 plus Masters racers. They did not have a separate category for the 60 plus. But in that one, honestly, I was just a little too nervous, a little too scared. The pavement was not good, and didn't trust my skills, and so I just basically stayed at the back, and ultimately that's kind of, I think, where I ended up. Actually, I ended up I got 12th out of 22 in the 50 plus, which just mid-pack, whatever. Wasn't too happy with how I performed in there. It was pretty hard to move up in that race, and every time I felt like I was going to move up, then we'd be coming into a corner, and I didn't really want to dive off the corners. So hoping to do better in this race today. There are some really strong guys in this race in all the different age categories. So we've got Jeremy Gord from Canada in the 40 plus, and he is a monster. He and Aaron Hafeker from Washington and the Coalition team, they were in a break yesterday and lapped our field. And I think at this point in this race, they are already off the front, and they are in a break. I think it was just the two of them today on this race. Right in front of me, we got Tim. I forget his last name, but Tim is also from Washington. The guys that are from Washington that are racing in this race aren't really racing for the Oregon State Crit Championship. You need to be a member of OBRA, Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, in order to take that title. But you don't actually have to live in Oregon to do that. You can just be a member of OBRA, and you can end up winning their state championship. So something to keep in mind if you live in Washington or Idaho or California and decide you want to come up and do this. Anyway, right now I'm feeling pretty good. I know that the field is stretched out, not struggling at all. Feel like we're all connected, even though it's really strung out. But again, I don't feel too bad. I definitely feel like I probably should be moving up a little more. But when you come down this home stretch, again, it just kind of slows down because the field is still so big when you go into the chicane that I was hesitant to really push it too hard. One of the things I realize is I need to start staging up front at these races. In a lot of the local races that I do, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's probably better if you stage up front in a criterium no matter what, but a lot of the races I do, I can stage at the back, and there's plenty of time to move up. There's plenty of room. There aren't as many riders, and it isn't as impactful as it is in something like this. So that is definitely a lesson that I've learned. I know you hear it all the time. Almost every video about criteriums say you should line up at the front. But again, since it didn't really have any ramifications for me in the local races, I guess I just didn't take it to heart. So keep that in mind. If you're in one of these bigger races, you definitely want to try to get to the front. One thing about this race that was a bit frustrating is they were not pulling any riders because it was their state championship, because they had 3 different age categories. They wanted to give everybody an opportunity, and so they left everyone in the field. Later on, you'll see that it gets really confusing. We had so many people that were getting lapped, sometimes getting lapped multiple times, all these different groups. I had a hard time figuring out if we were catching a group that fell off the front or we were lapping somebody. I think all the different groups did a pretty good job of trying to let the race develop. So if they were caught by a group from behind, they didn't try to necessarily mix in and stay in that race. They let the groups go by. I'll show that a little bit later on. So again, right now, feeling pretty good. This was actually a pretty fun course. I think if we had about half the amount of people, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I actually really did like the course itself. All right, on this lap, coming out of this hill, I noticed that getting gapped off a little here. This guy on my left is leaving a little bit of a space, so I have to kind of push it up here and make sure I stay connected. This one went off from the gun, so I think even though we're not that far into the race, a lot of people are already starting to feel it. You can see gaps opening. There were a couple additional crashes in this race. I don't know if I caught them on camera or not. I don't think I did, but there was a crash later on in the tunnel. Oh, again here we see a gap opening, so I've got to burn a match to try to catch back on. Had to spike up almost to 900 watts there. And make it back on to the main group here. And I'm behind this Texas Roadhouse guy. He's in the 60 plus field. I wish they would have had like different numbers for the age groups or some way to identify who you're racing with. Um, with three different categories in here and the size of the field, it it was just impossible. I didn't. You can't know everybody. But I will say that I was really impressed with the organization and the races themselves. It was pretty amazing. The crowds out in downtown Portland yesterday and even out here at this park were pretty amazing. It was really fun to have everybody around cheering. The only other race I've done that was similar in terms of size of audience or people that watching the race basically was the Boise Twilight Crit. So that was nice to have. So at this point, I think I noticed that there was a bit of a gap between the group I was in and the main field right there. You could see that when you were coming around the corner. I didn't think it was that big of a deal because we had this other quarter coming up and we had the chicane. So I figured that our group would reattach, especially once we got to the chicane. But I'm guessing that they put the hammer down at the front group along this final stretch here because this is the point in the race where we got disconnected. I was a little too far back to try to bridge the gap on my own there, and it was getting into the narrow spot, so I was kind of hesitant to try to jump up and do anything about it. Excuses, excuses, but again, unfortunately, this is where I end up, getting basically we end up getting dropped from that main group. So we got this guy here on the right, and he decides that he wants to kind of put in an effort, and so I follow him. And when I look back, it's just the two of us at this point, and so I figured let's give it a chase. The people we were passing, I think, were actually people that were already being lapped. They may have come off the front group, but I think they had already been off. You can just see the group up there going around the corner, and I thought maybe we'd have a chance to catch up to them. I looked back and there was a group of about five, and I knew those five were the ones that we were with originally, and here they are catching back up to us. So let's see, one, two, three. Got me and this other guy. That's 4, 5, and then there's I believe three other guys. We've got Warren Atkey, we've got the Texas Roadhouse rider, and somebody else. So yeah, makes 8 of us, I think. 8 of us in this group. Oh, and then there's Tim also. I forget Tim's last name, so Tim's in this group as well. So maybe 8 to 10 of us in this group. And as far as what age categories, I'm pretty sure Tim and myself, and I know Warren, we're all in the 50 plus. I know that the Texas Roadhouse guy is in the 60 plus, but I don't know the rest of the guys. I'm going to jump ahead here because basically we roll around for pretty much the rest of the race in this group. There didn't seem to be any concern of anyone catching us from behind, but also I think we were resigned to the fact that we were not going to catch the front group. Right now, we've got, well, I think only like 3 laps left, maybe 2 laps left, and we are catching another group, so we are lapping another group. They are not somebody that came off the front. But as we are about to lap this other group, we end up getting passed by, there's Jeremy Gord, and there's Aaron Hafker from Coalition, and they're in the 40+ field, and they are lapping us right now. So they're lapping us, we're lapping this other group. I'm imagining that they're lapping that group twice at this point. So our group gets to the front here, and we get past this other group, which was, again, nice that everybody didn't just try to jump in. Basically let everybody race their own race. I'm going to fast forward here to the final bit of the race. All right, we are coming into the final lap here. I saw that guy in the green and white that just went by on the left-hand side, and I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he was with that group that we just passed a little bit ago, or if he actually caught up with us from behind. So I really don't know if he's racing, against us or what. So. Yeah, this guy right here in front. Got a National Parks Services kit. That's pretty cool. I didn't know they had a cycling team. So here's another mistake I made. I see Warren and his teammate getting off the front there, and then Tim is chasing them. So I get on Tim's wheel, and I think this is a pretty good move. We're kind of coming in the final 2 corners. But I expected Tim to kind of close us down a little bit more. I should have jumped around him right here and caught onto Warren's wheel. That would have been a good move, but I didn't do it. And coming around this final corner, I also let this guy on the left take the inside corner on me, and that was another mistake. And this is the final sprint. Basically past Tim, but I don't make up any more ground on these guys. I have no idea how I finished. This was so confusing that the officials could not figure out where anyone placed. Hopefully we'll get results this week. I think I ended up in top 10 for the 50+. Thanks.